The show Cowboy Bebop takes place in space in the distant future. The show follows two bounty hunters, Spike and Jet Black, and they comb the galaxy looking for bounties on their ship, the Bebop. We get introduced to both as they're tracking down a bounty of a guy named Tanaka. He's taking a bunch of hostages in a space casino. They end up destroying the casino pretty good, but they do end up taking Tanaka in alive, which is the most important part for bounties. If it's dead, you don't get anything. Both Spike and Jet Black then head to Europa because they want to turn him in. And this is a big one. They're hoping that the bounty actually went up because they could use the money. Especially Jet Black. He needs to get his daughter a birthday present, and it would be nice to actually be in the black instead of the red for once. So they head to Europa to turn Tanaka in. Unfortunately for both of them, when they do turn him in, it's not exactly the bounty they were hoping for. Tanaka's bounty was $1.5 million, but after you take out all the taxes and fees, they only get $100,000. That's not nearly enough. It's basically the equivalent of breaking even for them after they waste the gas. As Jet Black is leaving the police station, he runs into a cop that he knows named Chalmers. Though they don't have the best relationship. Guess Chalmers kind of had a thing with Jet Black's ex-wife while they were still together. But as Jet Black is trying to get out of the conversation, Chalmers pulls him aside and says, "Hey, I actually have a bounty for you. It's not even listed yet." Jet Black asks him, "Why are you giving it to me?" And Chalmers says, "Personally, I wouldn't cross the street to piss on you if you were on fire, but your ex-wife asked me to throw you a bone every once in a while, so here it is." So Jet Black heads back to the Bebop to give Spike the bad news about the bounty haul. They start kind of pointing fingers on why they got so little, blaming each other for the destruction of the casino that they have to pay for. They quickly, though, start laughing about the situation, and Jet Black shows him the latest bounty that Chalmers gave him. It's a guy named Asimov Solensen. He shot up a bar in New Tijuana. And shot up a bar is one way to put it. What Jet Black and Spike don't know is this guy walked into the bar with his pregnant girlfriend, and he was trying to do a drug deal, although the guy didn't actually believe that the drug he had, something called red eye, was actually what it was. He needed proof. So Solensen decided to inject himself with it. And unfortunately for everybody in the bar, the red eye that Solensen had was legit, but it also put him in an absolute rage. And as he was trying to get money for all of it, these guys showed up from something called the Syndicate, and they were looking for it because it turns out Solensen stole it from them. Although under the influence of red eye, Solensen was able to kill all of them except one who was able to get away. Now, Jet Black and Spike don't know the whole story. They just think this is a guy who's worth $2.5 million who just shot up a bar. And Spike doesn't even want to take it. He doesn't want to head to New Tijuana because the last time he was there, he got stabbed while getting a churro. But Jet Black puts his foot down and says, "We're taking this." Jet Black reminds him that it's his ship, and he also has to get his daughter a birthday present. It's easy money. So the two head to New Tijuana. Jet Black heads to the bar that was shot up. And as he's talking to the barkeeper who was there, wasn't killed, the barkeeper lets him know that, yeah, the guy came in and the Syndicate showed up and he killed all of them. All except one. But the barkeeper also lets Jet Black know that there was somebody else, a woman with purple hair, who was asking about the same couple. Spike, however, has been able to locate the couple with the help of three guys who were playing dominoes. They let Spike know, yeah, I've seen Sorensen. He stumbled into a hospital, and the hospital was literally right behind them. Sorensen had to go there to get patched up because he did take bullets. But under the influence of red eye, it didn't even faze him. At least not until the stuff wore off. So Spike starts looking around, and that's when he sees Sorensen's girlfriend. He goes over, lights her a cigarette, starts chatting her up, the whole time waiting for Sorensen to show up so he can take him in. As they start talking about how they got to Tijuana, starting a new life, love, all that crap, Spike hears a gun get cocked behind him, and then he feels it on the back of his neck. And it ends up being that same woman with purple hair. Her name is Faye Valentine. She's a bounty hunter, and she tells Spike that he needs to piss off because he's talking to her bounty. Spike tells her, though, that he's not here for her, he's here for her boyfriend. But then he asks, why would anyone care about her? There's no bounty for her. And Valentine says, well, I care about her because Ellis Montgomery does. And if Ellis Montgomery cares about her, then that means that this pregnant woman in front of him is Katarina Montgomery, his daughter. This guy's really powerful, really rich, and immediately Katarina starts begging them not to take her in. Spike tells Faye to walk away, and she kindly reminds him that she's the one with the gun. And that's when Spike reverses it on her and gets it away from her. But the gun goes off, and that alerts Solensen that there's something going on outside. When he looks outside, he sees both Spike and Valentine fighting as his girlfriend is terrified. So as those two duke it out, it gives Katarina enough time to actually pick up Solensen and get the hell out of there. And while Valentine is really pissed off to see the two get away, she's even more pissed off when she turns around and Spike has a gun pointed at her. Spike takes her back to the Bebop and locks her up. When Jet Black arrives back at the ship, he hears somebody locked up in the bathroom, and he asks Spike, who the hell is that? So Spike takes him over and introduces him to Faye Valentine. After Faye and Jet Black exchange pleasantries, Jet Black informs Spike on the whole syndicate problem. Spike then tells Jet Black about Katarina Montgomery, and the two start piecing this story together about how Asimov was a part of the syndicate, but he fell in love with this girl, decided to start a new life, and stole the Red Eye to sell it and form that new life together. And Spike has a pretty good idea of where they're going. He's pretty convinced they're going to Mars because it's something Katarina had mentioned. Jet Black tells him, we got to get to them before the syndicate does. This planet is crawling with them. But Spike says, whoa, you're the one who always says we have to play by the rules here. We've always said if it's the syndicate, we walk away. Jet Black gets pretty pissed off, reminding Spike that he's doing this to get a present for his daughter's birthday. But Spike tells him, this isn't going to get us paid, this is going to get us dead. Jet Black completely ignores that, telling him, they're going to Mars, they're going to need a ship, and I have a pretty good idea where they're going to get that from. So he takes off, and Spike reluctantly follows suit. Faye is locked up in the bathroom the entire time. As the two guys head off to the airport to try to rendezvous with Katarina and Sorensen, Faye is able to lockpick her way out of the bathroom. And since she overheard the conversation, she also has a pretty good idea of where they're going. Spike and Jet Black, though, get to the airport first, and it's just as Jet Black had predicted. There's Sorensen and Katarina trying to escape. Spike tries to talk Sorensen down, saying that this isn't going to end well for them, but it can end well for Katarina. If Sorensen comes in easy, they'll let Katarina go. Sorensen even considers it, but ultimately deciding, no deal. Spike ends up beating Sorensen up quite a bit, and Sorensen frantically tries to grab some red eye to inject it, which he does. But as he starts going into that fit of rage, the syndicates show up. And suddenly, Jet Black, Sorensen, and Spike stop fighting each other because they're getting shot at by a lot of syndicate members. And one of the stray bullets ends up hitting Katarina, but it hits her in the stomach. And that's when you find out that Katarina actually isn't pregnant. What she was hiding was a bunch of red eye, the red eye that was stolen from the syndicate. Nobody even seems to notice because of all of the commotion that's going on around them. Sorensen helps Katarina scoop up the red eye and get her out of the gunfire. Now, Spike is doing a great job of one by one taking out all of the syndicate members. He gets to who he thinks is the last syndicate member, and that guy actually recognizes him. He looks up at Spike and says, "Fearless, it's not possible. You're dead. We killed you." And Spike says, "Yeah, you did, and I want to keep it that way, Chivo." And then he kills him. But that actually wasn't the last member of the syndicate. There was one more member who was hiding. It's the same guy that got away from Sorensen. Since he's outnumbered, he decides to hunker down and wait for everybody to leave. And speaking of Sorensen, he's busy trying to kill Jet Black. Jet Black is only saved when somebody shoots Sorensen, and that somebody is Faye Valentine, who's finally arrived. Both Faye and Spike rush to Jet Black to see how he's doing, as Katarina and Sorensen get in a ship and take off. But when Spike sees that, he gets in his own ship and follows after them. Katarina is very relieved. She thinks she's on her way to Mars. But when she looks over, Sorensen is dead. And when her ship gets closer and closer to the portal that's going to take them to Mars, they actually get ordered to stop. They hear over the intercom system that they need to turn away from the gate or they'll be fired upon. But Katarina doesn't turn away. At this point, Spike is caught up to her, and he's even pleading for her to turn away, but she doesn't. She goes full steam ahead towards the gate, and she gets lit up and dies. And one of the reasons why Spike wanted to help her so bad was because Katarina reminded him of somebody. Somebody he has visions of with a rose tattoo. A woman that clearly he had a relationship with, but something went wrong. Seems to be syndicate related. And speaking of the syndicate, that one lone survivor ended up returning to his boss. This guy is hunkered down in a space fish market. And it's a guy named Vicious who demands to know where the red eye is. But this poor crony has to explain that he doesn't have it. There were these bounty hunters, who they call cowboys, and the whole thing went to shit. He does tell Vicious that this one bounty hunter killed all 12 of the guys, including Chivo. And he overheard Chivo call him Fearless, but that can't be it because they killed Fearless. Because the situation was so botched, Vicious ends up killing this guy. And he tells two other cronies, if that truly was Fearless, find him and bring me his head. He then goes in another room where there's a female who asks, everything okay? And Vicious says, yeah, it's old business, my love. But that female is the same girl from Spike's dreams. The same girl with the rose tattoo. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought this sucked. Make sure to be nice in the comment section. If you don't see the next video up in the end screen there, I'll get it up in a few days, not to worry. And I have merchandise, so go buy a mug or something. It's never too early to think about Christmas gifts, folks. Once again, thank you for checking out this recap.